So, okay, so we're here with Yuh Filthy Animal cast and crew. Anthony, you want to start?
Hi, I'm Anthony. Excuse me. I'm Anthony Monzillo, and I played the pastor at the funeral.
Tony?
Hey, how you doing? My name's Tony Murphy. As a producer, location scout, and that's kind of what I worked for Jeff during the film.
What about you, Eddie?
Hi, Eddie Wiseman. Helped out with some of the handful of VFX shots that Jeff had.
And Jeff?
Jeff Clark Jr. I was the writer-director.
What about you, Chris?
Chris Gallagher, art director, helped with some of the location setups.
So, Jeff, how did you come up with the idea for the film?
So it started out as a scene. I'm an actor, and I go to an acting school called LaGuardia in New Jersey, and they were offering a writing for actors course, like a couple classes or whatever. So I took that and I actually wrote one of the scenes in that class. And the acting coach's name is Josh Nelson. He said, "This needs to be a film. You should make something out of this." So then I just continued to write around the one film where the actor playing his name is Michael Owen Stanley. He plays that where he meets the entity outside the church. I wrote that scene first, and then I just kind of built around that to finish the rest of the story.
So, how did everyone else come out on the project? If you guys want to, going around robin, how did you come about and do what you did on the project? Anthony, how did you do it?
I did it the old-fashioned way. I did it with an audition that was up, and I answered it and did a audition tape for it, and I got lucky.
And then, Tony, how did you come aboard?
Well, I've known Jeff for quite a while now. I'm a fellow actor with Jeff. I've taken classes with him. I've seen him act. Everything he does is pretty on point. And so when he had sent me this short to read and kind of get some feedback from, I was blown away. Jeff is very talented. Writing, acting, directing. So that's how it kind of came about. As far as me joining, because he asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, and I would never say no to Jeff. He's a great guy, and I really thought that this film was touching, and I thought it would go a long way. So he allowed me to kind of become a producer for the film. I was able to find some locations for him, and just kind of be a soundboard. He had some ideas, we kind of bounced back and forth amongst other people that he worked with, and that's kind of how it came about. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of it, which is cool.
Don't forget that awesome truck.
Oh yeah. I got a really cool 57 or Chevy pickup, which was primo.
Came in handy.
Oh, it was totally primo, man. But it's one of those ones where there's nothing automatic. It's all you just start it and then it's boom, 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 but it's fully restored. So there's no power windows. It's that. Can I help you?
Nice.
But yeah. So I was pretty fortunate to have Jeff allow me to be part of this, which was great.
And what about you, Eddie? How did you come aboard?
I've also known Jeff for quite a while now, over 10 years. We've worked together in the past, and I've always had my heart in VFX and stuff like that for film. That's really what I thought I'd be doing with my life, but I didn't want to move to California, so I stayed on the East Coast and did television. So when he came to me with this concept they had and explained it to me, I'm like, yeah, whatever, anything you need, just let me know, because this is right up my alley. And I'm glad I did, because seeing him work through the process as he was doing it really inspires me as well, because doing these, it's like a passion project. And when you're stuck in the meat grinder all the time, doing your day jobs, sometimes you miss all of that stuff that you wanted to do in the past. So seeing Jeff sort of pushing ahead at this stage, and like seeing this as a beginning, not an extension or a catch up
Does
or
it
anything
mold?
like that.
Does it mold?
It's no, because it's you're younger than I am, so but no,
Sure.
it's inspiring. It really is. So I'm really glad I did it, and I look forward to the next one, and very happy to see it's being so well received and everything. So that just shows that you got determination, you can do anything you want to do.
And what about you, Chris? How did you come aboard?
So Jeff and I have known each other since college, like what, 2005? We've been best friends since
2001.
then. Oh yeah, sorry, 2001. We graduated in 2004, the end of 2004. So we've worked together, hung out together, shared stories, call each other uncle, with our kids. So naturally, he brought me on to help out. I'll just echo exactly what Tony and Eddie said. Like, we've worked together throughout the years. You see somebody with a lot of passion for a project, and we've done this like motion design, special effects, filming for the better part of 2 decades now. And you don't always love doing it. So when you see somebody bring another idea to life and actually be excited about it and have like this like smile as it's coming together, you naturally just want to get it, as much work in as possible. So I had like a super commute to get up to each of the locations, a couple hours each way, and Jeff was trying to pay me like, here, take money, get some food. I was like, look, man, I want to just help out. I love the idea. I think it's like something special. And then to be in the group messages and say, hey, we got accepted to this film festival. And then 3 days later, a list of other film festivals. It's really rewarding. Like, that's more than anything that money could give you, to do something like this. So I'm just happy to see all the success that he's having. It's pretty amazing.
Did you have a feature for this and then cut it down, or it was a short and you want to possibly make it into a feature? The story?
I kind of treated this as almost like a pilot. I don't know if you probably remember the show. I remember it growing up. Touched by an Angel, or Highway to Heaven. Those old TV shows that were more faith-based and actually had a lot of heart and a lot of meaning behind each thing, instead of just a bunch of eye candy and trash stories. And I'm a Christian, so I was in my personal life, things were happening, and I don't know, this kind of story just called to me. So I developed it as like maybe like a pilot episode or something that could be turned into something bigger, that people can watch and stream, maybe some kind of series. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's sometimes it's hard with like with us, we have the long shorts and everything, but there's some fest that's just it's tough to get into unless like it's a really good script and acting and wise. It's not easy to get like a long short into a film festival, which is why we do the long shorts. It's just it drove me crazy because I had a 37-minute short many years ago and I got into fest, but it wasn't easy because it was the length for it. So but yeah, we have all different kinds of lengths for it. Was it longer, or you had to cut out a lot?
Oh yeah, I had to cut out a lot. Not because of not because of the story. It was because of the money, which everything comes down to, obviously. So I wanted to. I actually had another film I wanted to shoot that was not faith-based, with the same cinematographer on this one, and I kind of got ahead of myself, and he was like, "How are you gonna shoot this?" And I was like, "You're right." So then I went back to this story that I wrote, this scene that I wrote, and I made a script out of that. So
absolutely. So you guys, some of you have been working for a long time. What other kinds of films have you worked together
on? The only person I've worked with on another film is Tony Murphy, and we're actors. We're actors. Now I didn't really consider myself a filmmaker until I made this film. But so I've been in a ton of films. Actually, some I've screened at the Brightside Film Festival over the years.
Oh,
And that's how I kind of submitted to you guys, because I had fun every time I came to the festival.
yeah.
But yeah, just really just Tony Murphy.
Yeah, we've been in we've Jeff and I have been in shorts and features, and throughout the last few years, kind of from COVID on. That's kind of when I kind of jump started my acting, right? Literally like the week or two before COVID hit.
Oh, wow.
I started taking acting lessons, and so then everything was in via Zoom. So like I had met everybody via Zoom, right? Because it was all new to me. And I had met Jeff, and then once the acting teacher was like, let's start getting this in person when things started opening up. That's when it was weird, because like all these brand new people that I met, like kind of going to school for the first time, and Jeff was one of them. So it's always like, I've seen your face and I've seen you act behind camera to your own computer, right? Like this, but you never seen the person. So like I was meeting all these like brand new people, and then Jeff and I had met, and we just kind of kicked it off, like-minded people, kind of have the same kind of drive, acting, film, TV, all that kind of jazz. And I always, whenever I'd watch Jeff and his performances, I was always blown away. So it's always nice, because you are who you hang with. So if you hang out with people who drive, and they help you and to drive and become the best person you do, you kind of do the same in the feedback. That's how people grow, and that's how cool things happen. So that's why it was nice for me meeting Jeff in person, and then him allowing me to kind of be part of his new endeavors and such.
Have you, like, during the pandemic, did you end up writing stuff or yourself?
Me?
Yeah.
Because I didn't, because I, like, literally right before the pandemic, I just started acting. I was an architect prior to this, and then one day I just quit my job, and then I was like, I just want to try acting, right? And so, but it was during the pandemic, so it was hard to kind of do it, and I didn't really know. The thing is, when you're new to something, you don't really know the facets and what kind of goes into making a short, making a feature, making commercials. So, this acting school that Jeff and I have been a part of a few times, LaGuardia, as he had mentioned, Josh tries to bring a lot of that in. And, me, just up until that point of starting, I would watch TV and watch films, and, I never knew how much went into it. And then when Jeff was like, "Hey, do you want to be part of this film?" And, we had been part of acting, but never like behind the scenes. And there's a lot that goes into it, which is, the organization is key. And Jeff was like, boom, 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 boom. There's always hiccups, but it's cool to learn how much goes into something, especially like TV and film.
Absolutely. Anthony, what about you when you were acting and during the pandemic times and after? How did that go for you? Crazy times. And
Yeah, everything was crazy at that point. I wasn't really doing much during the pandemic, but just staying out of everybody's way. And then when things started to kick up again, and I decided to just to explore and see what was around, and I related to the script immediately. It was brought me back to my Roman Catholic roots, and it was the writing that made it easy.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Jeff, I see he got back there. So when did you really like the writing and directing process opposed to the acting? What do you prefer?
Acting is always my first love, for sure. Like Chris mentioned, we kind of do this for a living, as far as like behind the scenes.
Mhm.
So I had a lot of experience. I shoot a lot of MLB players sometimes, and down in spring training. So I art direct some of those shoots. So I was used to being on set. I was used to being a part of that whole behind the camera experience. So I kind of brought that onto this endeavor, onto this shoot. So I felt comfortable. I made the shot list. I wrote the script, and I was very, very familiar with everything. So that made it easy.
Absolutely. And then how long did it take for the whole production from filming through the editing process? How long did that take?
I would say in total about 2.5, 3 months. And I think it went really fast because I kind of did everything.
Hmm.
Like I did the sound, I did the editing all myself. And the only thing I didn't do was, which I couldn't do, was what Eddie Wiseman did. Eddie can speak more about this if he wants to, but he did the special effects on it, which came out nice. And then I could not fly a drone, and Chris Gallagher flew the drone for the beginning, the opening scene, which came out great. So yeah, Eddie, I don't know if you want to talk about how you did
How
that.
you did that? Yeah, because I teach film, and the one thing we never really get to, because it's is the special effects part. We try, but kind of like we don't really get to that point. We try our best to, and a lot of the students, unless they're in advance, don't really know the special effects part, and it's something that I would like to learn more myself. So, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean that of course that's my passion and my love, is taking a story and either enhancing it or adding an aspect of it that maybe wouldn't have been there otherwise. And it is all a matter of storytelling, because that's really where it all comes down. It doesn't matter what you're doing, if you're moving a piece of text around, moving people around, or whatever it is. Everything you do should be with purpose and with a story, like a reason for it. You have to stand behind it. At least that's how I work. So like, and I think that's why I work so well with Jeff, because I feel like he's the same way. Like, you ask a question, you get an answer. If he doesn't know, he'll get the answer. And there's no, there's not, it's very streamlined would be the best way to say it, and that's exactly how I work. So in a case like this, understanding exactly what he wants, and then okay, what's the most efficient way to do it, because obviously we've got time and budget constraints. So what's the best way to do it? So I go into my little toolbox of stuff, and like, oh, I got some feathers here and some wings, and you just kind of rig everything up. And then luckily the scenes we had weren't super complicated. So again, the most important thing is in that brief little moment that I have, how can I get the emotion through, and that's just a matter of the pacing of the effects, the subtle nuances of the things opening, even when she disappears and you get these little sprinkling feathers coming down, just trying to keep the life in it. And also, more importantly, again, with telling the story, is to make sure that it works with the rest of it, because especially when in this case we only did a couple, three or four visual effects that I was involved with. And if they were done in a vacuum, it would look very out of place, So I was grateful that I was able to preview what he had done so far, so I can get a feel for the film, before I go in and do my little piece. And it makes a world of difference. And I think overall everything looks great. So I'm very happy with it.
Do you prefer practical effects yourself?
I like everything. Honestly, yes, and but I don't prefer it. It's to me,
Yeah.
it's whatever tool it takes to make it happen. Usually, it's a mixture of everything. To be honest, you just kind of, the best thing that I like to relate to is back in the old Star Wars Lucas days, right? When they talk about building the Death Star, right? What did they do? They go to the toy store and buy a whole bunch of models, and then they got stuff they got lying around. And like, look at Han Solo's gun, right? Was like, I don't know, they used a real gun, an old German, I think, gun or something like that. And it's like, oh, let's just stick on a few more things here. And it's like,
or even the editing studio for the Death Star to blow up.
Yeah, they got the way the camera rigs. They're like, oh, we can't really move the models around. Oh, well, let's move the camera around. Okay, we can do that. And it's like anything and everything you can do. And I love working that way. It's like that guerrilla approach to it. And it's less stressful too, in a way, because you just get to play, and that's what I like to do.
Yeah, I'm not too fond of the green screens, but I have one right now.
You don't need
green
green
screens.
screen anymore. Now you
Yeah.
can cut people out of anything.
That's true. That's true.
No, but the technology is great, and I love mixing the old with the new. I think it's important to learn the old because there's a reason why those old classics are loved the way they are. Do they all look the best? No, not necessarily, but again, it's the thought that was put into it. It's using what you have and when to do it and when to push, when to pull it back, and the films that are successful in that, I think you can learn a lot from. So that's what I try to do in everything that I do. So that's kind of my workflow.
Right. And Chris, how was flying the drone around?
It's always an adventure. Yeah, so I break that thing out every once in a while. Actually, the very first time I flew it, I think I was just up at Jeff's for a Memorial Day barbecue, if I remember right. So my first drone, I crashed into the Delaware River. The signal crapped out. It was being flown through something called Graffiti Pier, and it's almost like a catacomb of graffiti that they let you go in and spray. So I was with another friend, and we were flying it through there, and the signal just got lost because of all the concrete, and the thing took off like 100 yards away, lost signal, and just dropped straight into the river.
Oh, no.
So it's always an adventure. We had some good luck with actually flying up by Jeff's. Though there's like buzzards, hawks. They like you don't know what's going to come out of the trees when you're up there. So
yeah, it's always interesting with those. I remember being on set and it crashed into a tree and it fell down. The guy jumped and grabbed it and just ripped his whole hand. It was crazy.
Yeah,
but
it also like I don't know if anyone else on the call has flown a drone, but every time you launch it, it has an update. It changes the distance for like how high you can fly it if you're close to an airport. Another time I was down in Philly by the art museum, and it would let it fly 18 feet from the ground. So we left and we went like a mile away and flew it almost like 400 yards back into the city so we could film some buildings. So it's always interesting. Also, if I remember, Jeff, it was like super windy that day as well, right? Like, so we had the drone sitting there and it was just moving back and forth.
Yeah, it was definitely challenging, but he pulled it off though. It took about 20, 25 times, but we got the right one. Yep.
It really does. Just as a side note, it really does take a knack to do that drone. It's funny because watching Chris operate his drone, my son wanted to fly my drone. I hadn't flown it in a couple of years. This was last week, and I flew it into basically my house, into trees. I mean, I felt every time it hit something, it just dropped. I was like, oh no, it's broken. And I go pick it up and it would spin off. And watching Chris maneuver that thing, like thinking back, I was like, it really does take a knack to like the finesse of, especially when you're shooting that film and you're videoing it, like the smooth entrance or exit. He did a really good job.
We're also not talking about like a super high-end drone. Like some of the higher end things, they're stabilized a little bit better. Like the gimbal works a little nicer than what we had. So it also depends on the equipment that you have, kind of.
Yeah. So we're excited to have you guys on Sunday. It's got a lot of films going on. We have 110 films in 2 days, so it's a lot. Sundays get a little crazy sometimes over there. So as like you said, you've been there before, so especially during those award shows. But anyway, just wanted to go around and if you guys want to promote anything coming up or anything you're working on or any of your handles. So Anthony, if you want to start.
Well, right now I am on hiatus, living the dream in Florida right now. So I'm not doing much of anything right now except going into my pool.
Nice. I just came back from Miami. I was just in Miami, so I will retire there one day.
That's exactly what I did.
What about you, Tony? Any upcoming projects?
No, currently I actually just moved with my wife and my kids, and the whole moving process from one house to another has been it's been hectic. So I kind of just like took a little chill, focus on my family, get that. But it's one of these things. Acting's one of these things where I hadn't done it, because of the move and doing the family stuff. But there's that itch, and I got that itch again to start get behind the camera and creating characters and people that aren't me. So but that's it.
What about you, Jeff? Any writing anything? Or are you working on anything?
So yeah, I'm the lead in a short film called Method Man, directed by Pat Bradley, and that's going to be in film festivals.
Okay.
So keep an eye out for that. I'm also in a film called Dating Horror Stories. That's a feature-length horror film, and that'll be distributed on Tubi and something else, and that's coming out in October. And I'm also filming a couple other short films I'm a lead in coming up, and I'm just promoting the hell out of You Filthy Animal. I've been accepted into a couple other film festivals. I've submitted to 13, and I'm just waiting to hear back from the other ones.
Any coming up soon, or like any far away, or any other New Jersey ones, or
film festivals?
Yeah. Any new ones coming up?
Yes. I should be hearing back this week for one film festival. I think it's New York Movie Awards.
Oh.
And then about 4 more in October, and then a couple in November.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I like to promote is I am going to be a host on a food review show called Fat Bastards. And we're going around New York City, different boroughs and some parts of Jersey. Actually, we might be in Jersey City. Just reviewing food and, hanging out and shooting the shit, basically. And yeah, if you want to keep up with me, my handle on Instagram is @JeffClark Jr.
A lot of good pizza places in Jersey City.
Awesome. Yeah. I have to get some advice from you here at the festival.
What about you, Eddie?
Well, other than just, doing the day job, definitely looking forward to the next. I mean, I've done a handful of documentaries over the years, and I've helped out on things like this, and it really, especially working with Jeff this past time, it really has kind of sparked me in getting back into doing my own kind of passion project and essentially doing a film. I would love to, submit for a film festival one day, just for my own self to, finally get to that, to push it out, as it were.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. And I'm always open to be working on things like this. So yeah, if I'll make a plug for my website, 7red3.com, please check it out. And if anybody needs anything, I'm always here to help. But other than that, just keeping it real. And I'm in Orlando, by the way. You're Anthony. You're in Miami, is that correct?
No, I'm in Deltona.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard Miami for some reason. All right.
Oh yeah. I went to Miami. I was in Miami.
Oh, okay.
Week,
yeah.
So
I'm from the South Florida, but I'm living in Orlando now, so we're kind of neighbors.
Yeah, we're only about an hour away or so.
Yeah.
And what about you, Chris?
Yeah, I just do the day job thing, and I have a small. So I run a small motion design studio. I have a couple clients that I've been working with. We're booked until December, I think, right now.
Wow.
Working on the Olympics, actually, some stuff for Peacock, which has been an adventure. And then during COVID, I also started a little like crypto NFT gaming studio, and we've been building out a 3D platformer for that. It's called Dapper Dinos, which is that's also been an adventure, kind of all over the place. So you can check that out. That's dapperdinos.com. You can see what we've been building. And then if you want to take a look at some of my work over the years, that is cgclick.com. But yeah, other than that, not much else going on.
Right. Well,
I spend my weekends like taking my kids to swimming and coaching soccer, doing a lot of things with the family. For the past month, I've been building a deck, so got to keep busy. But like, if Eddie and Tony and all you guys want to get together again, it'd be fun to build another film.
A sequel, part 2.
Doesn't have to be a sequel, but like, I think I think Tony Murphy mentioned this earlier, but like you meet a group of like-minded people and it doesn't really feel like work. You know, like everyone gets together, and Tony and I kind of hit it off and had some weird interactions and conversations, but like you get to like learn about people and work together, and it doesn't like you don't feel like you're actually doing a job anymore. And I think that's the most rewarding part of this. So Eddie, when that script is ready, if you need some
You're
help
playing, right?
yeah,
So
like,
whether you're in front of the camera or behind the camera, you're playing. So what like TV and film is just like you're playing. Whether you're in front of it, behind it, doing it, and everyone's just kind of like running around saying, do this, do that, act this way, say that, da da da, cry, beat up, cut that person, blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so Eddie, get that script together so we can make it. Let's do it.
Oh, it's been in the work for about 30 years, so yeah, it's time to start finalizing it.
We've got 3 people here that'll edit, cut, add special effects,
There you
do some graphics for it.
There we go.
What else do you need, right?
Time and money, but other than that, not much.
That's really the key, right? The
Got
time.
the
Those are the
idea.
two. Yeah, those are the two.
That's the most important thing, right?
Well, thanks you guys for being here for a little bit today, and hope to see some of you here maybe on Sunday and in what 2 weeks, I guess already. So, cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot for joining me again, and hope to see you soon.